Good morning. I'd like to call this September 17th, 2024 regular meeting of the Baldwin County Commission to order. We have with us Pastor Gavin Hunt with Celebration Church. He's going to come and lead us in the invocation. Followed by the invocation, Commissioner Ball will lead us in the pledge. Thank you for being here today.
As she said, I'm Gavin from Celebration Church. Let's all bow our heads. Let's pray this morning. Lord, we love you and we thank you that we get to meet this morning, Lord. God, I pray over this meeting, God, that over the leadership, that you would provide wisdom and insight to lead us in the direction that you want us to go, Lord. God, I pray that you would light our steps, light our path, Lord, and be in front of us in every single decision that we make and everywhere that we go. Lord, I pray that this would be honoring and pleasing to you this morning, Lord, and that you would challenge us in our hearts today as we walk with you. Hear and pray. Amen.
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 Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Okay. Before I get started, I just want to make sure if you have come today to speak during a public hearing or public comments and you have not signed up to speak, please do so as soon as possible and turn those in. Thank you. I have several already turned in. Thank you. First item on the agenda is going to be the adoption of the minutes from the September 3rd, 2024 regular meeting.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion we adopt the minutes of September the 3rd, 2024 regular meeting.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the September 9th, 2024 special budget deliberation meeting.
All right, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Next, we have Commissioner McKenzie.
Madam Chairman, make a motion that we approve our payment of the bills.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to pay our bills. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Now, the next item on the agenda is item BA2, which is a notification of interim payments approved by Clerk Treasurer as allowed under Policy 8.1, which leads us to our consent agenda, which is a pretty lengthy consent agenda that was discussed during the work session prior to this meeting. The only change to the consent agenda is just adding on item CA3, we're adding December 22nd and 23rd dates to the drive-through lights display. Do I hear a motion to approve our consent agenda with that change added?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with changes noted. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, that brings us all the way down to my favorite part. That was said sarcastically. Public hearings are very hard sometimes when it comes to controversial things. So anyways, here we are. We are at the public hearing portion. We have item E01. Mr. Ackerman.
So, Baldwin County Highway Department received a request for vacation of two unopened, unaccepted rights-of-way down in the Bon Secours area. This is right off of George Street, which is ties into County Road 6. This is a vicinity map of that location. The two rights-of-way that are in question were attempted to be vacated back in 1967. Unfortunately, some of the residents that had applied for that application did not have standing to make that application, so that was rescinded. And through that time, we've had several people purchase lots, build residences along this stretch, and those rights-of-way are still on the record. And we have structures that these bisect. We have properties that these transect. So you have three lots where there should be one. So what, as allowed by Section 23-4-20 of the Code of Alabama, we have advertised for a public hearing to consider the vacation of these two rights-of-way. Now, they will be considered separately. The first one that we're requesting is the 40-foot right-of-way for unopened Lincoln Street, and that is what I'll call the northwestern of the two. And then that's the one we'll hear first. But the advertisements have been posted. It has gone for 30 days, so we can hold a public hearing. And upon the completion of the public hearing, then you would have the ability to vote in the affirmative or negative to vacate that right-of-way. And the right-of-way would be split amongst the lot owners equally as allowed by state law.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Ackerman before we open the public hearing? Hearing none. We will close the regular meeting and open the public hearing. I do have a sign-up sheet with Mr. Stephen Sotomayor. I don't know if I said that right. Do you wish to speak on this matter? And if I said your name wrong, I apologize.
I know, sometimes it's a tough name to say. If you said it, Stephen Joseph Sotomayor, that's fine. If you said it the way my grandparents would have said it, much nicer. It's Esteban Jose Sotomayor.
I don't think I can do that.
Yeah, I know. But it was great when I was young and I was dating.
How about Stephen? I got Stephen.
So, in relation to that, I'm one of the property owners of one of those slices of land, and yes, it would literally transect. And in addition, because I live out there, I actually know what they would say is the lay of the land. And the lay of the land is literally almost 1/3 of that piece that they had back in those days is underwater. There's no way to build or fill or do anything much there. I can't even imagine it. But not to see my property or my neighbor's properties transected in this way, I think it's just the right thing to do.
So you're in favor of this?
That's what you would like. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I don't have anyone else signed up on this particular right-of-way vacancy. So with that being said, we'll close the public hearing.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that we approve case number VAC 24-2, vacation of a 40-foot unopened, unimproved right-of-way known as Lincoln Street.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Gruber to approve the vacation of this unopened, unimproved right-of-way. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion amongst the commissioners before we take the vote? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next. Oh, wait. Yeah, never mind. Did I close the public hearing? Okay.
You did.
I've got a lot of them today.
All right, so this is
Y'all
the
help me.
second. This is the second of the two rights of way. Now this one is unnamed. It is an alleyway, but it is bound to the north by Turpin Lane, and then to the south by Turpin Lane, and then we also have the Oak Road and Hallow Road is the bound to the north. So it is unnamed, but it is part of that same request. It involves the exact same property owners, and if you have any additional questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Okay, any questions for Mark? All right, hearing none, we'll close the regular meeting and we will open the public hearing, and I have you good?
I'll waive it, I think.
You're going to waive it? Okay, and I have a Mr. David Pelishek.
Yeah, I'll waive it as well.
You going to waive it as well? Oh, man, ain't y'all something. Okay, then no one else has signed up to speak on this case, so I will close the public hearing. Commissioners?
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that we approve case number VAC 24-3, vacation of approximately 20-foot unopened, unimproved alley from Turpin Lane, AKA Oak Road, to Haddle Avenue.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. All right, now I think that's the two highway public hearings. Now we have the planning and zoning public hearing. Ms. Corey, I'll give you a chance to get hooked up there on your computer.
All right, good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
This is C-2419, the Fincher property. It is a rezone request that was heard in front of the Planning Commission on July 11th, and Ms. Crystal Bates presented that for the Planning Commission. Here's the location of the property on the county map. The request is to rezone 45.30 acres from RSF3 to RSF4. The property is located in Planning District 12. It's currently vacant, and it's located on Rawls Road, which is paved and county maintained. The applicant is Mr. Dwayne Smith with Anchor DBG, and the owner is Charles Fincher. The proposed zoning is to RSF4, residential single family, and they would like to rezone for residential use. Staff believes that the factors that we look at in a rezone application have all been met. Here's the locator map and the site map. The property is surrounded by residential or vacant land uses. We see a lot of RSF3 to the north, south, and west. We also have business to the east, so that's commercial land use. Staff's recommendation is approval, and the Planning Commission recommended denial at their July meeting. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
What was the primary reason for the denial?
We had some public come in and speak in opposition of the request.
Okay.
Do you remember what the public was saying?
I don't remember.
Are you the one signed up to speak? Okay, we'll get to you. Okay, any other questions for Corey? Hearing none, we will close the regular meeting and open the public hearing on case ES1, the Fincher property. The first person that I have signed up to speak is Dwayne Smith. Okay, Mr. Smith, we got your timer up there. 3 minutes.
Okay. Dwayne Smith, Anchor Engineering, representing the developer on this. This is one of those few cases that you do get all 10 green check marks from the planning staff. It's a rarity, but this seems to make a lot of sense. Basically, the subdivision Lakeview that wraps kind of to the north and around the west side of the subdivision is RSF 6. You got commercial across the street. You have RSF 3 to the south, and this has a sister case that's coming up very soon after this one. That is really all part of the same potential development. But that owner also owns the land to the south, so therefore he's for it. And basically, Lakeview currently is a pretty large subdivision that has one access. It has a stub that kind of stubs down to this property. Our intent is to stub to that stub to give that subdivision a second access, which will be a public safety major improvement from what you have now, because I think that subdivision has potentially 300 to 400 lots in it. And so we're trying to, it's a betterment for the overall area while maintaining consistency with kind of the zoning and how planning is intended for higher density to occur, being close to city centers and all, and then stepping as you go out. So we feel like we meet all those criteria.
All right.
Do you have, can you show the map where you was tying into Lakeview?
Can we go back? I don't want to mess up.
Thank you, Corey.
Sensitive.
That may be the best we get.
May be the best, yeah.
So near the, what I would say is the northwest corner of this property, it's really hard to see at this zoom level. There is a stub down right there. That there is a sliver parcel that's part of the same developer that developed Lakeview. It has a sliver in between, and I've communicated with planning staff, and they're going to we'll all work together to try to figure out how to get through that sliver.
Is it that Renagua Drive with a little white line that comes down? Or is it the other development, the dark orange? Because I can't see anything on this. Of course, this is very...
It comes off of the...
Yeah, I can't tell either with this map.
Iguana? Boulevard, I believe.
Yeah.
Right there.
What? Iguana?
I'm not, it's hard for me to read on this
The
little.
one, okay, I can see it on, I've got a printed out copy here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Hey, look at that. Ended your time. Okay. Got a lot of paper up here. We got a lot of... Okay, so the next person that signed up to speak on ES1, the Fincher property, is Mark Bisson. Mark? Charlie Fincher's got two people's names on here. Who signed this? Charlie or Mark? Both of you signed it? So, okay. Okay, please state your name.
Thank you. I'm Charlie Fincher. This property has been in our family for over 50 years. My wife and I have cultivated it, worked it. Her dad did. And we sat there and basically cried when we said it's time to do this. Because Julius was always the type, he wanted to give somebody a chance to make something bigger. And this gives a chance for young people, young families to come into this area and to our area. And it's probably one of the prettiest places on the farm. But it's come to a time that we decided we want to do this and make that area a little better. I'm surrounded now by subdivisions. There used to be a road that I gave up 40 foot of easement for to be it paved, just to make it better. And that's what we look for it to be, is a better place for everyone that's around there.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. And please, Ray Moore, is that you, sir? Yes. Okay, come up to the podium.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
My name is Ray Moore. I live on Rawls Road, and Mr. Fincher is absolutely correct. That's a beautiful piece of property. And I support the county growing. I support having opportunities for younger people to come into the county and to be able to buy homes. My problem is this, though. I no longer work. I'm retired. And when I was working, I traveled all over. And when I retired, I wanted to make sure I had a peaceful place, a friendly place, a place a little slower paced than what I was used to. This county offered that to me. Right now, if I take a look at the county and where I'm at, I'm looking at surrounding my house. If I draw an arc, due north and due west of my house, if I draw an arc out 1 mile, there's 9 subdivisions, 9 in that area. Harvest Meadows, 109 homes, count 2 cars per home. I've got Point Estates, 24 homes, Crystal Point Estates, 67 homes, Crystal Orchard Estates, 144 homes, Creekwood Place, 19, Cottage Adventure, 144. That's Central Baldwin, 21, Ponder Place, 133, and Lakeland currently with greater than 200 homes. And now they're wanting to put about another 150 on there. That's 860 homes in subdivisions around me. I don't have any problem with the county growing. I think it's great to move people in there. But being able to cram that many homes into that many smaller space, the traffic is terrible through there. If I going out and putting mail in my mailbox the other day, I almost got hit because there were people trying to pass people now in front of my house on a 2-lane road coming from these subdivisions. They're all coming from that direction. You can't even get out on Highway 59 right now. The traffic is just unbelievable. If I stop and take a look at what if a hurricane comes? What if a natural disaster? I keep hearing all these people talk about all the check boxes are checked. Well, I got it that there's some days somebody's going to do something with the road, but there's 861 homes in there right now. Nothing's been done with the roads. I take a look right now, the county in different places, Fairhope was running into issues with water. There's other counties that are running into issue with water. There's other utilities that we're going to be having a problem with. Look, I don't have a problem with the county growing. I think it's great. But not so many people in one spot at one time. Spread it out, for God's sakes. So I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you being listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That's the last person I have signed up to speak on ES1. Okay, is there anybody that didn't sign up to speak on ES1 but you want to speak on ES1? I'll give you a chance. Okay, don't hear you. Okay. Public hearing's closed. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Corey? Or I will entertain a motion. The motion would be to approve or deny the rezoning request from an RSF3 to an RSF4. Is that correct? Yes. I got so many up here, I'm making sure I won't get mixed up. Okay.
I make the motion that we approve case number Z24 to RSF3 to RSF4.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner McKenzie and a second by Commissioner Ball to approve the rezoning request to RSF4. Any discussion?
The only thing that I want to say to the gentleman is that we understand your concerns. We do, as a commission. I just want you to understand that, because it's growing everywhere in this county. But anyway, I just want you to understand that. Thank you.
I would like to say that a lot of the, it's already zoned RSF3, so they could go in and develop it under those parameters now. This is a rezoning request. It's not a subdivision request. Subdivision request is going to be very important for a lot of the factors that you mentioned. So I would just encourage you to stay tuned for the subdivision process, because that's where the traffic and all of those things are. This is strictly a rezoning request. All right? So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approval signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Next.
This is case Z2426, a rezone request for the Johnson property. This is the location of the subject property within the county. The request is to rezone .40 acres from RSF1 to RR. The property is located in Planning District 35. It is south of Keller Road and west of Helpton Road in the Foley area. The applicant is Kim Johnson and the owner is Maxine Johnson. The request is to rezone to RR to allow for an existing plumbing shop that predates zoning by approximately 40 years to add a supporting accessory structure to the property. Here are the factors that we look at in a rezone request. The request meets some of the factors and not others. Here's the locator map and the site map. The subject property is surrounded by RSF1 to the southeast and west with either residential or commercial use, and RSFE to the north with a residential use. Staff's recommendation is approval, and the Planning Commission recommended approval. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, any questions about this before we open the public hearing?
Ms. Corey, what was the applicant, what did they wanted to do? I can't remember correctly on this one.
They wanted to put a pole barn on the property to
Just a pole
store
barn?
trucks for their business.
The business is already there.
Yeah, the business, okay.
Okay,
That's all.
any more questions? All right, we'll close the regular meeting and open the public hearing. I do not have any sign-up sheets for this case. Anybody out there forgot to sign up? All right. Public hearing's closed. Commissioners?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve this request by Commissioner Ball, seconded by Commissioner Gruber. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Unanimous. Next.
This is case Z2430, the Childress property. Was presented in front of the Planning Commission on August the 1st. Here's the location of the property in the county. This is the sister rezone to the Fincher property. The request is to rezone from RSF3 to RSF4. This is 8.8 acres. It's located in Planning District 12, also on Rawls Road. The applicant is Dwayne Smith with Anchor DBG, and the owner is Stephen Childress. They would like to rezone to RSF4 for residential use. Staff believes all the factors in this rezone request have been met. Here's the locator map and the site map. The subject property is surrounded by RSF3 zoning, which is all vacant, and then RSF6 to the west, which is residential. Staff's recommendation is approval, and the Planning Commission also recommended approval.
Okay.
I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Corey before we open the public hearing? None? We will close the regular meeting, open the public hearing on the Childress property. I have 3 different people signed up. No, 2 people signed up to speak. I have Mr. Moore. You going to waive? You don't want to speak? Okay, we'll go to Mr. Smith. Did you want to speak? Okay. That was the only 2 that I had signed up for ES3. Is there anybody that forgot to sign up for ES3 but you would like to speak on this matter? Okay, hearing none. We'll close the public hearing. Commissioners?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay. I have a motion by Commissioner Ball to approve. Do I hear?
Second.
Second? Have a second? Okay. Any discussion before we go to a vote? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it unanimously. Okay. ES4.
All right, I'm going to present the next 2 cases together. I have one presentation. It's for a rezoning and a PRD, and they go together. So y'all can vote separately on each case or one motion with both of them stating in your motion. So this one is PRD 2401 Sailor's Landing, and also rezoning 2413 Bailey property. The applicant is requesting a rezoning with PRD approval for a residential development. The property is located in Planning District 22 on the south side of Highway 98, west of County Road 95 in Planning District 22. The applicant is asking for a 226-unit planned residential development. It is currently zoned RA, Rural Agricultural, and they are asking for RSF2 single family. The subject property to be rezoned is 134 acres. The smallest site for the PRD is 8,400 square foot. That's the smallest lot. The density they are proposing is 1.9 lots per acre. The required RSF2 is 2.9. The open space they are providing is almost 34 acres, and of that, 13.52 is usable. Here's the locator map and the site map. You can see the subject property is surrounded. There is some RA zoning, some M1 zoning, and some commercial zoning. These are the factors that were reviewed when considering this request. Staff feels this change is compatible to the immediate area. There have been several rezonings within this area near this subject property. Most of them have been to either residential or commercial. The flame shows this area as moderate development potential with a neighborhood center, and RSF1 and RSF2 is supported. If the applicant does go through with the PRD, a turnout permit would need to be reviewed by ALDOT. Here is their layout of their PRD. We did have to rotate it on the presentation so you'd be able to see it. You can see they're currently showing 2 entrances off of Highway 98. There's quite a bit of common area. They're offering pickleball courts, walking trails, and bike paths. Here are some examples of what they're proposing the homes to be like with their site data. They will have to provide a traffic study and showing 2 entrances onto Highway 98. Staff has recommended approval of the rezoning. We also recommended approval of the PRD with some conditions. And then the Planning Commission recommended approval of the rezoning at their June 6th meeting. And then at the August 1st meeting, Planning Commission also recommended approval of the PRD with conditions. And here are some of the conditions that were recommended.
I have a question about the request that came in on Friday. Jay, are you aware, Selena, or do I need to ask him?
Yes, Selena is aware, but this is about the
40-foot
buffer along the residential parcel.
The east side of the residential, west side of the east entrance.
Yes, if you go back to the layout, basically what's the current layout shows a 40-foot buffer, that top left of the screen there, which is the northeast side of the project. The property adjacent to it, to the east, is zoned commercial, and right now there's a 40-foot buffer in between a commercial property and these the rear lines of these developments. However, that little box in the middle is a single-family residence, and there's a 20-foot buffer between the proposed lots and the single-family residence. That owner has requested that if it's possible to increase that buffer, and I think it would be prudent to reduce the buffer on the commercial side to a 20-foot buffer and add that 20 feet back into the buffer on...
Because there's not really a requirement.
There's not a requirement.
There's not a requirement on the east side buffer.
The only requirement for a PRD is a 20-foot buffer, so they're exceeding that requirement on the east side. So they can reduce that to 20 feet to add additional buffer to the single-family residence that surrounds here.
Has that been asked to the developer?
That has not been communicated.
It's not been asked? Okay. That is a question that I want to ask then. Is there someone here, Mr. Rector? That's you, ain't it? It's been a while since I've seen you. Yeah, okay. Well, that's fine. Okay, so if after the public hearing and everything, we add that to the conditions?
Yes.
Okay. There was an additional email sent yesterday, but I think this is the main one that I wanted to be concerned about. Okay? All right. Any other questions before we open the public hearing?
Nope.
No? Okay. I'll close the regular meeting and open the public hearing on the Sailor Landing ES4 rezoning request and PRD. I believe I have Joe Rector signed up. Do you wish to speak, or are you here for questions? Well, you already answered mine. Any other questions? Okay. Then, is there anybody that didn't sign up to speak on this ES4, but you would like to sign up to speak? I mean, you would like to speak? Nope. Okay. We'll close the public hearing. I think we can vote on these
at the same time.
But do we need to vote on the PRD first?
No, you got to vote on the rezoning first.
Rezoning first.
So let's vote on the rezoning request.
Okay.
I mean, we can actually do them together.
I think that's what the plan was, is to vote on the whole package.
Well, it can be done either way, but I'll allow it. Let's go ahead and vote on them together, but just make sure that the conditions are included in the motion with the latest condition that was just recently discussed about the 40-foot buffer.
All right, Madam Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve case number Z24-13 Bailey Agriculture Development Property Rezoning, and also case number PRD 24-01 Sailor's Landing Planned Residential Development Site Plan.
With all the conditions.
With all the conditions set forth.
Okay. So we have a motion to approve both requests with the conditions that were requested in, do I have a second?
Second.
All right. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion before we vote? If no one else has anything to say, I don't believe you put the before and after up here, did you? The one that was, this is a major improvement to the site plan than the one that was originally presented, and it has much more usable open space. And so I appreciate when the development wants to become a better quality development, and I think that this is moving in that direction. So thank you for representing the whoever to make this a better development than just a cookie cutter, no amenity, no open space or anything like that. So thank you for that. All that being said, if there's no other discussion before we vote, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Both pass unanimously. Next.
All right, the next two cases are similar to the last one. I'm going to present the rezoning and the PRD together. This is a rezoning for the McCraney property and also PRD for Bear Creek. The subject property is located in Planning District 22. It's on the east side of Highway 83, north of Kickler Circle. It is adjacent to the town of Alberta. The applicant is planning a 132-unit planned residential development. The property is currently zoned RA, and the applicant is asking for RSF2. The property consists of 59 acres. Their density is 2.4 lots per acre. They are providing 25.42 of open space, and 16.14 of that will be usable. Here's where the property is located. Here you can see the property is surrounded by RA zoning and also the town of Alberta. Most of it's residential, agricultural, or either vacant. Here are the factors we reviewed for this case. The adjacent uses to the subject property are agricultural and residential. The parcels to the south are in the town of Alberta, are either residential, institutional, and commercial, and staff feels this requested change is compatible with the surrounding area. There has been limited change in the area, mostly just annexations from the town of Alberta since the original zoning map was approved. Here, does it conform to the master plan? It does. The majority of the future land use is moderate development density, which supports RSF1 and RSF2. A traffic study is not required for a PRD. It will be reviewed for a preliminary plat approval, and a turnout permit would be reviewed by the county onto County Road 83. The proposed amendment is consistent with the adjacent zoning when taking in consideration the town of Alberta zoning. The adjacent property to the south, which is in the town of Alberta, is zoned R3, which is high density, single family, multifamily, and mobile home park. The requested RSF2 would be a good transition from high density to mid density. The requested RSF2 zoning district is provided to afford the opportunity for the choice of a moderate density residential environment consisting of single-family homes. Here are some of the amenities the applicant is planning to provide in the PRD: some walking trails, playgrounds, pavilion, and pickleball courts. Here is the proposed layout. Here you can see the green area. The darker green is the open space. They have walking trails, pickleball courts. This is their buffers they are planning. Staff recommended approval of the rezoning request from RA to RSF2. Staff also recommended approval of the PRD with a few conditions, but the Planning Commission recommended denial 6-2 for the rezoning based on incompatibility, and also recommended denial of the PRD 7-1.
Okay. We have the same situation as far as we can vote on them jointly or separately. And any questions for Selena before we open the public hearing?
Ms. Selena?
Yes.
When it says, when the Planning Commission recommended denial because of the incompatibility, what were some of the reasons? Do you remember? Did they say anything, or just said incompatibility?
Usual traffic, drainage,
that will be addressed if this is approved, right? Because they have not had
They would have to come back for subdivision approval too.
Yeah.
To the Planning Commission.
Those are pretty intense studies and things that you have to do, and if they don't get approval for the rezoning, there's no reason for them to do that ahead of time. Is that correct?
Right, yes.
Okay.
And I guess the reason why I'm asking, they know that, so I've just wondered why they, came up with their reasoning.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. We'll close the regular meeting and open the public hearing on ES. We're on 6, right? I have Dwayne Smith again. You got something to add? All right. It's your time.
Dwayne Smith, Anchor Engineering again. I just wanted to add, we did create a board to kind of better depict everything. We are leaving a lot of buffer space around the outside, and we're really been trying to work with staff and create kind of, as you mentioned, Ms. Underwood, on the last one, create these subdivisions. My apologies. Create the subdivisions where you get the amenities kind of in the middle of the subdivision, so that it's easy for people to access them. They don't have to walk to some corner or something like that. Staff has had some comments about maybe reducing the block length of.
What's down on the behind those lots?
This right here?
No.
Down
there,
here.
yeah.
This is actually a detention pond here.
It's a detention pond.
To answer some of your question regarding drainage, we have run drainage on this. Based on what we have designed and what we have set aside here, we'll actually reduce the amount of water that's going through the site, getting to the creek down to the south of here and on through. So we'll be improving the overall drainage that currently leaves this site. So we want to work with staff, even if this PRD is approved. We need to add a cross street to improve the block length. We don't have a problem doing that. Or if we need to tweak the amenities, we don't have a problem doing that. The homeowner, or landowner, excuse me, wrote an email yesterday. She intended to be here, and I sent it to Jay because I got it late. I'm not sure if he passed it on, but basically she has COVID. That's the reason why she was unable to make it. But I'll read just a little bit of the email if I can. I'll try to be quick. I am Sharon McCraney, owner of County Road 83, Alberta, Alabama. Monday, I was diagnosed with COVID and unable to attend today's hearing. I was 12 years old when my parents purchased this property, and I remember my dad clearing it the old-fashioned way, pushing a stick of dynamite into a stump, lighting it, and running as quickly as possible. And then basically they picked up the pieces afterwards. My parents' dream was to leave the property to their children and ensure us a better quality of life in our old age. I am 73 years old and having health issues. On December 6th, my son became blind and has not been able to work. He has been turned down for disability because doctors are still treating him in hopes of giving him some sight in his right eye. My dream is to be able to pay off his mortgage if he doesn't lose his home, and to be able to retire myself. This subdivision would be a legacy to my father. All of his friends called him Bear, and the subdivision would be called Bear Estates. We're blessed to be a freak.
Do you mind, though, if I see that board?
Sure.
Time's up. I can't see it too well on the screen. Okay, so this says a sports field.
So this is going to be a common play area for the kids.
Okay.
Kind of an open area. They go play ball, whatever they want to do.
But you're putting a walking trail.
We're putting a walking trail around it, and we'll have walking trails coming through and everything. So, and then pickleball and video.
Have enough pickleball courts for that many people?
Yeah. I don't know. These days, I'm not sure if that's ever enough pickleball courts.
Okay. Well, I just couldn't read that on here.
Yeah, understood.
But there's still some more you could do in that top corner up there where that green is, the light green, over here? Yeah.
Yeah, we could.
There could be.
You could actually, what I was saying is if you could put like a way to access this, I just feel like that's a lot of wasted free space.
Yeah, and we have no problem with that. Staff has kind of pushed us to keep amenities in the middle, but I think it's reasonable to use this space.
Well, when you got all of these people that live out over here, they got a road in between. I just really think that, would you be opposed to a condition to the PRD to make that more usable?
No. And we fully anticipate working with staff to tweak things just here and there to make it a little bit more.
Because I mean, you don't have a way to get there from this
Right,
side.
we can adjust things. Even if we lost a lot or did something here,
There's nothing down here.
we could create a 20-foot buffer access easement.
I think that would be nice,
Yeah, I don't see that.
since we can ask for that in these.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right. Is there anyone else? I don't have anybody else signed up for ES6. If you'll come to the podium and state your name. You'll have 3 minutes.
Hi, good morning. My name is Allie Doyle. Hey, how are you? I
haven't seen you in a while.
I know. So we live near this property. It is family property. I am against it. Whenever we were at the meeting, the denial was they didn't like, there was not a cut-through road for the 911 if they ever had to come through the big loop. They didn't like that. There's, no through access. The water, like where they say it's wetlands or whatever, there's a driveway, there's 2 driveways. It's super wet. So it is runoff. Yes, they can approve it, and I do believe that there can be changes done, but that's big things. It will change the way our land flows. It has been farmed since 1990 by one farmer, and it's already going to cause erosion. The way of the land, it flows up and then it flows back. So that's why you see a lot of the green, because that is all wet. So our my main concern is we don't want to see it leave. We love the agriculture. It's been in the family, and that's how it should say. I understand there needs to be growth. If we can change it from 100 and something houses to maybe 50 something houses, that would be understandable, 3-acre lots or something, but I just don't see where it's going to fit our community. Right there with the high school, I know they say they're going to do road studies and stuff, but if you look at it, pull it up on the map, take a look at it. There's no good way to do this. Farmers cannot travel already. I mean, it is dangerous for my cousins to travel. There's no way. There's no shoulder, there's nothing. I mean, me and my daughter can't even ride our horses to our house on 83 because there's no safe way to do it. And I mean, and that's why we live where we do, you know? And I just would like y'all to look at it, really think about it. Obviously, it was denied for a reason, but I understand if it, you know, if that's something that's gonna help our community, I get it, but I don't know. I just feel like there should be a better way.
I would like to say that there are things that you can request in a planned residential development that you can't request in a normal subdivision.
Yes, ma'am.
And there's a lot of positive things that we're asking for this.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
so I would like for staff to comment on the drainage questions.
Yes,
Okay?
ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Natalie.
Do you mind if I ask her a question?
Sure.
Do you remember what they said about the 911?
So if you pull up the map or whatever, there was only one way in. They want a middle, like halfway through, so if there was ever an emergency, they wouldn't have to go all the way around. And then they didn't like the fact that the kids would have to wait out front on 83. They wanted them to build something for like a bus stop. So I think where the sidewalk was, like where that portion of, I guess, like the 80 and the 115, or before that, they wanted like a road to go through there. Yes, sir. So if there was a case of emergency, they wouldn't have to go all the way around and loop around. And then they brought that up too with the school buses, so a school bus wouldn't have to go all the way around.
Is that a walkway now? Is that what I'm...
It's proposed to be a walking trail.
Do y'all want me to sit down? I mean, I'm fine to
good.
stand.
You answered my question,
Okay,
Dwayne.
Thank you.
Sorry, that's what I was mentioning in my review when I said be able to cut down the block, or my comments, cut down the blocks. I've taught the staff since, we're more than happy to put a crossroad through there to cut down the block length so you're not having to go all the way around. So I don't foresee that being. As for the bus stop, if the school system prefers picking up in a couple of spots, we have no problem building a bus stop. The only thing I wouldn't want to do is build a bus stop that doesn't get used, and then it becomes a maintenance nightmare.
Have you reached out to the school? What did they say? Oh, well, no.
School really doesn't.
They don't really comment.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
They don't comment. Well, we can put the condition in there that with communication with so if you're willing to put a cut-through road in here, okay, and we could put a condition that if the school will work with you on a bus stop, that you're willing to put a bus stop in, correct?
Yes.
So those are some conditions that can be requested, and sounds like they're agreeable to that. But, I mean, of course, we still have to vote on this. I'm just trying to figure out what we're voting on.
Right.
Okay.
Understood.
All right, thank you. All right. Is there anybody else that would like to speak in the public hearing portion? And I'll get staff to comment on the drainage questions. None? Okay. We'll close the public hearing, but before we go to a vote, I would like for staff to address the drainage concerns.
As you mentioned on a previous case, the drainage and traffic are issues we deal with. They're technical review issues that come with the subdivision plat, which will come after the results of the zoning cases before you today.
So this is a sketch.
This is a sketch.
It's just like
right.
the previous ones that we have voted on that were planned residential developments. So they're pretty strict on that drainage stuff and on the traffic stuff. And with this having more lots than 50, there will definitely be a traffic.
That's correct. This would require a traffic study, the preliminary plat, as well as a detailed drainage study and plans to meet our regulations and whatever regulations are in place when the preliminary plat application comes through. As y'all know, we're in the process of proposing some amendments that are actually strengthening the stormwater requirements.
But would that fall on? Would this one fall under that?
This one would still fall under those requirements because
Okay.
the PRD is just it's an approved master plan. So
I was just trying to make sure because of the date of the application. Okay. Of this versus that. Okay.
Right.
All right. Any other questions before we go to a vote of staff? Or any other questions from the commissioners?
Yeah, let me ask you this, Jay, on the question. Was it presented for the Planning and Zoning Commission to ask about putting the road through there? I mean, why couldn't they suggest that to the developer?
Yeah, and it was a recommendation from the Planning Commission to create that that connection, because basically what's going on is the block length is a little too long right now, and the developer committed, even the Planning Commission, to make that connection there where that little green space is.
Yes, sir.
Which does a couple things. One, it does improve circulation, just general everyday traffic circulation in the development, but it also improves emergency response. And a side benefit of it, it further activates that usable open space that you see that's kind of in the middle of the development there. And so we've been working really hard with this developer and multiple other developers about making sure that we properly design the neighborhoods around these open spaces and activate them so they're not kind of forgotten areas, that they're actually part of the neighborhood and usable for the kids and the families that live there. So that cut-through road would, improve the traffic comments that have come up, but also really go a long way for further activating that open space as become the central feature of the
Okay,
neighborhood.
so the mentioned additions to what we're looking at here on the screen, if this is a recommendation to approve, so a motion would have to come with that, but keep in mind, if a motion comes, then there would be the request to add the cut-through road there where the green space is that by lots 80-something or whatever? Need to be specific that we have the 81 and 115, is that right?
So, Madam Chairman, you can be specific, or you could word it to work with staff to provide
Work with staff to have a cut-through road between. Okay. And then also to have a, what would you call it, an open space over on the, scoot it over that way, so over on that, an open space over here.
Inaccessible.
So that the unaccessible area may have some
Type of
access. And then also to work with the school board, if they will work with us, of having a school bus stop within inside of here. So we can vote on these together. We can vote on the rezoning and the PRD, or we can vote on them separately. Unless you have an objection, I would entertain a motion to vote on them together with those conditions stated.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ball and a second by Commissioner Gruber. Any discussion?
Just make sure you're stating what the motion was again, that
Okay, the motion.
we're not accepting,
The motion
we
is
got to state what we're accepting, and we're accepting staff's recommendation and denying the planning and zoning's recommendation.
Okay, we're accepting, okay, the motion is to approve the rezoning request and the PRD request with the conditions set forth that we just discussed. Okay?
Absolutely.
All right, so that is your motion, and that's your second?
That's my second.
Okay. Any other discussion before we take a vote? Hearing none, we'll go for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. It's unanimous. Thank you. We have ES 7? Bear Creek.
We missed one.
Same of it.
Oh, gosh.
We're good.
Y'all messing me up. With all
Those two
these-
are the get same.
all these-
Oh, yeah, they're all together. That's right.
all these-
PRD and the...
Okay, so we are at the end of the public hearings. We are now on other staff recommendations. We have FA1, which is a resolution, 2024-170, expressing solidarity with Israel in its defense against terrorism in the Gaza Strip. I asked for this resolution and haven't heard any negativity back from anyone. Have the resolution here. I would like to read it real quick and then entertain a motion. This is Resolution 2024-170 of the Baldwin County Commission expressing solidarity with Israel in its defense against terrorism in the Gaza Strip. Whereas Hamas was founded with the stated goal of destroying the state of Israel, and whereas Hamas has been designated by the United States as a foreign terrorist organization, and whereas Hamas has launched thousands of rockets and mortars against Israel population centers since Israel withdrew its civilian population and its military from Gaza in 2005, and whereas Palestinian terrorists of the Islamic Jihad and Hamas have launched over 1,800 rocket and mortars against Israeli civilian areas in 2021, and whereas Hamas has increased the range and payload of its rockets, reportedly with support from Iran and others, putting hundreds of thousands of Israelis in danger of rocket attacks from Gaza, and whereas Hamas locates elements of its terrorist infrastructure and civilian population centers, thus using innocent civilians as human shields, and whereas the Democratic Jewish State of Israel is a key ally and a strategic partner of the United States and a friend and partner of the state of Alabama, and whereas Israel has an inherent right to self-defense in the face of terrorist attacks, and whereas the state of Alabama plays an important role in the production of the Iron Dome missile defense system, which has saved countless lives against rocket attacks by Hamas onto population centers in Israel, and whereas Alabama has led the way in many ways with its unwavering support for Israel, and Baldwin County, as the fastest growing county in the state of Alabama, wishes to express its solidarity with Israel in its defense of terrorist attacks. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Baldwin County Commission in regular session assembled that the Baldwin County Commission, number one, expresses vigorous support and unwavering commitment to the welfare, security, and survival of the state of Israel as a Jewish and democratic state with secure borders, and recognizes its right to act in self-defense to protect its citizens against Hamas's unceasing aggression, reiterates that Hamas must end the rocket and mortar attacks against Israel, recognize Israel's right to exist, renounce violence, agree to abide by previous agreements between Israel and the Palestinians, and verifiably dismantle its terrorist infrastructure. Number three, encourages the administration to work actively to support a durable and sustainable ceasefire in Gaza as soon as possible that prevents Hamas from retaining or rebuilding its terrorist infrastructure, including the capability to launch rockets and mortars against Israel, and thereby allowing for the long-term improvement of daily living conditions for the people of Gaza. Number four, condemns Hamas for deliberately embedding its fighters, leaders, and weapons in private homes, schools, mosques, hospitals, and otherwise using Palestinian civilians as human shields while simultaneously targeting Israeli civilians, and to lay blame both for the breaking of the calm and for the subsequent civilian casualties in Gaza, precisely where blame belongs, that is, on Hamas. Done under the seal of Baldwin County, Alabama, as affixed on the 17th day of September 2024. It was brought to my attention that how big of a role that the state of Alabama has played in being an ally of Israel, even though we are a state and not the federal government, and that we are a county and not state or the federal government. But I just thought that it was fitting that we make a stand on this as well. So with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 2024-170 of the Baldwin County Commission.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? No second?
I'll make the second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. I hear all ayes. It's unanimous. Thank you for that. Next item on the agenda is the budget and purchasing, which is the adoption of the Baldwin County fiscal year 2024-2025 budget. Each resolution has to be voted on separately and in the order indicated in the staff recommendation. So give me a second to pull up the staff recommendation. Okay.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion we adopt resolution 2024-158.
Okay, that's the very first one. So have a second. So the motion is to adopt resolution 158. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Next is 159.
I make a motion.
All right, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. I believe that's it on that item, right? Okay. Let me get back over here. Okay. So now we have item FE2. And we can approve all agreements with one vote. So the appropriation agreements align to the Baldwin County fiscal year 2024-2025 budget.
I make a motion to approve the appropriations agreements aligned to the Baldwin County fiscal year 2024-2025 budget.
All right.
I second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Now, the last one is Resolution 2024-157, appropriation of commission discretionary funds for the USS Alabama Battleship Commission. Need a motion?
Make a motion that we adopt resolution number 2024-157, appropriations of commission discretionary funds for the USS Alabama Battleship Commission.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. And that's because that comes out of a separate fund. That's why it's not included with the other appropriations, just as a note of record. Exactly? I think I've learned that after 6 years, because I would always ask. Okay,
That's good. You're
we have a,
helping
took me a while to learn it. See, it didn't have to take you as long.
Oh, it's taking me a long time. Don't
But I meant, if
a
you
lot to it.
halfway listen to me, you'd hear that. Anyhow, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Okay, which brings us down to public comments. There is no addenda. That was the next item on there. So under public comments, I do have someone signed up to speak, Kim Johnson.
You must have left.
Must have left. Is there anyone in here named Kim Johnson? Okay. Is there anybody that did not sign up to speak for public comments, but you would like to speak during the public comment period?
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
you have 3 minutes.
Both at this meeting and at the Planning Commission, I've heard comments about how the school board doesn't provide comments. And both you and the other commissions say the same thing, we can't get comments from them. Then you need to fix that, because it's important to hear from the school board. You need to fix that. Quit saying we're not getting comments. Why can't you fix that? Go see them. Go talk to the mayor, talk to the governor.
We have.
Well, then you need to do whatever you've got to do to get their comments, because that is extremely important. It's extremely important.
You know how you were very important about speaking to us?
Yes.
Speak to them. Go to the school board and
Go
speak
to
to
the
them.
school board meeting.
I'd be more than happy to.
I think that's what needs to be. The public needs to get more involved.
I'll be more than happy to. I'll be more than happy now that I've heard that.
Yes, sir.
But trying to find out about these proceedings and even when they're going to be held, you got to get a newspaper with an ad that's maybe 2 inches in it to try to find all this out. I, as an individual, I've had to do so much research to find out when these meetings are held or even what the agendas are, and then they change. So I'm just saying, you need to do something. You're the commission. You need to do something about that, whatever that is.
Well, I'm not sure. I'll give you some time, but I just want to comment on that.
Okay.
We don't have any authority over the Baldwin County Board of Education.
I hear you.
We always reach out to them, and generally, if they have a problem with something, they comment back. So they don't necessarily ignore us, but they don't comment usually, and that's been the norm, and when we address that, that's what we are told. So we do ask, and we do see them, and we do ask that, but I have no more authority over any of us up here over the school board.
The problem is, if you keep doing the same thing, you're always going to get the same results. You know you're not getting a response, and you need it. You need to do something within the political realm, within your powers, to be able to correct that. Whatever that is. I don't know what it is. I'm not a county commissioner.
We are granted certain authorities, and so there's, other than the school board is elected, so that is about the
My second concern is that today I've heard you say 2 times, what were of the planning committee meeting minutes? What was their concerns? You don't have the meeting minutes? You don't get those? You don't review those before this meeting?
I do.
Then why are you asking why don't you read what those are?
Do you know what we have to go through every day? One of these that we volunteer as a county commissioner?
No, sir, I don't, but that's
I'm not making
your
excuses,
choice.
I'm just telling you. That's right. And
That's your choice.
You're right.
That's your choice. And my only concern is, quit asking others out here, what was their question? What was their concern? You should know that before you even bring that up. Okay? My last thing, since you took a little bit of my time.
I'm giving you time.
My last thing is, and this is not a personal thing, I support Israel. I really do. But that's a private matter. This committee, this commission needs to concern themselves with county issues, not federal and not state, county issues. So you spent more time reading that resolution than you had even discussing my concern that I brought up. That's my only concern. Stick with county issues. Leave the federal to federal and the state to the state. My only concern. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone from the press?
Good morning. I'm Erica Thomas with 1819 News. And just to piggyback off of the Board of Education comment, kind of has to do with what I wanted to ask you guys about. I was wondering if, as commissioners, if you've heard of any concerns from people in the community about migrant influxes and how they're impacting classrooms in Baldwin County.
Oh, yeah. Anyone want to reply to her question?
We've all been hearing it. What I feel personally, Mike, that we need to do a better job here in Baldwin County when it comes to law enforcement. But the law enforcement side is tied a little bit. Their hands are tied because they don't have the federal authority to do certain things when it comes to immigration. But we got to get a new president in there. Once we get a new president in there, the administration will change, and it will be where law enforcement will have a better working with the federal government. That's just my quick.
I would just like to say on the fact of is it a concern? It is a great concern simply because of the amount of time that is having to be spent in some of the classrooms that have more than other areas. Some of the schools where the English as a second language is more of a problem than at other schools. It's taking away a lot of the teachers' time of trying to I feel like that the students that do speak English are not getting the attention that they possibly need. Now, I'm not in the classroom. That is just an observation that I had from a statistic that came to me of what happened recently in one elementary classroom of the percentage of English as a second language, special needs, out of only like 23 students, and more than half of those had a combination or both of those issues, and that there's quite a number of students that had to repeat that low elementary grade because of whatever reason. I don't know, but I can't imagine that those factors don't play into that. But that is something that as a citizen I'm concerned about, and as a commissioner, again, don't have the authority to do anything other than make a statement about.
That's right.
Well, 1819 News has recently featured different migrant influxes in Sylacauga, Athens. You may be familiar with those stories. I was wondering, have any of you been alerted or discovered on your own any influx of migrant population in any specific area?
I haven't, no, not in a specific area.
I had some requests about some, it was to just find out if it was people being bussed in here, but it ended up being the agricultural workers that were coming in for a specific farming operation. It was not somebody dumping people out. It was actually, the Loxley police confirmed that it was actually recorded people who are supposed to be here that are supported by the employer that's brought them in, agricultural workers.
Okay. Yesterday, I published a story about Fairhope City Councilman Corey Martin asking the federal government to help the locals resettle refugees here in Baldwin County. Is that something you are all aware of, and do you support this stance?
I am aware of the article. It was brought to my attention early this morning. I do not support that because I feel like that our citizens here need ahead of people coming from outside of this area.
Yeah, I just got word of it too this morning, and
I'm not in support of it.
I'm not supportive of it either.
I support it.
I heard it this morning on the radio. So
we fought this before when the three of us first became commissioners. There was some similar talk about using some of the old Navy bases around here to house refugees, and we voiced our opinion against that as well. So we still stand the same with that.
Another thing that goes along with that is we've heard this morning there have been challenges throughout Baldwin County as far as infrastructure, especially traffic issues. Can Baldwin County handle an influx of immigrants on an infrastructure and public service level?
Well, we've been working on our infrastructures. We're trying to put connectivity where we can, connecting roads that are dead-ended, and they could connect to another one, which would relieve traffic. So we are working on our plan. That's what, we've started several of them that are putting in connective roads that were dirt roads or had a gap in the middle, but you got a road goes in both directions. You got where it could traverse both ways. So we're working on that right now. We got kind of Route 65 is a good example. We're trying to finish it. It'll come from Bon Secure all the way through Somerdale, which, and you've got several connectors that people can get off on and make it so the travel is a whole lot better. We've got plans of some other ones. Kind of Route 20 is another one, connecting it to 65, which would open that up, so give it a better. So, we're working on some stuff to try to make it happen.
I want to piggyback off that. Our number one strategic goal is infrastructure, with the number one bullet under that is connectivity and increasing capacity on our county roads. But as far as your question was, can you handle immigrants with our infrastructure? An influx of immigrants. If you want to come to the United States the right way and go through the right process, I don't care. Most of us in this room, your ancestors may have come from another country. You may be the first generation that was born in this country, or maybe not. Maybe it was several generations ago. If you want to come to this country and come in the immigration process the right way, but to bring in people and dump them out with no jobs, no amenities or anything like that, I don't think any community is ready to stand up for that. And so we have approximately 7,500 people a year move to Baldwin County and make it their permanent residence, and we're doing a good job of keeping up with things. We have good roads. Some people it's never good enough for, but I know that we are working hard. But as far as if you're going to bring people in here and just dump them out on us, I don't think any community can handle that.
That's right.
Thank you.
I just have two more questions. One is, with the recent transfer of power of the Sheriff's Office, have any of you had conversations with new Sheriff Anthony Lowry in reference to the public safety aspect concerning increased migrant population, such as jail capacity and translation challenges?
Not personally. I haven't had it with the new sheriff. He was at an event with me, and we spoke about the 287G program that the local municipality and the sheriff's office can have an MOU with the federal government, and that's something that I hope that the new sheriff will look into once we get a new administration. Right now it's not going to work, even if they detain them, or ICE is not going to come get them. But I have had a conversation. He heard what I was saying, and I think he will look into that.
I've not had a direct conversation with him, but the county commission supports our law enforcement community. We have a huge expansion of our I think the right word is the correction facility, the jail. So we are definitely not and any risk of being over capacity due to our continued financial and support of our law enforcement community.
Okay, my last question is, migrants are at risk of becoming victims of human trafficking. Is there any way for citizens to communicate and report concerns of possible labor or sex trafficking in Baldwin County?
I think that goes through our law enforcement community, and there's been some bills passed by our representatives that help with the penalties involved in people who are doing the trafficking. But for the trafficked victims, there's lots of not-for-profit organizations that are stepping up to aid in that. And specifically, I can't name the names of them, but I've had several ones. A lot of churches and a lot of organizations have stepped up about that. So, I mean,
that is all my questions.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the press here? Commissioner comments? Commissioner Gruber, you want to start?
Just want to thank the staff for, getting us where we're at today with our meeting. And I want to thank the budgeting department for putting together the budget for next year. We went over a lot of things during that period, and I think what we've got budgeted it's a good budget, and I think we can live within that budget to make everything work out next year. There's no telling what could happen, so we were very conservative with, our spending and everything else. So with that, I just want to say thank you again to the staff and everyone for the good work that they do. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner McKenzie.
I just want to say thank you to the staff, also. Thank you, Beth. Roger, being the chairman of the finance this year was easy, because my first one was very difficult for me, being coming in with a $250 million budget. I can barely do my budget. But anyway, I just want to say thank y'all for doing that. Thank you for being here speaking. Thank you for our first responders and our military. But that's it.
Commissioner Ball.
Yep, I'm just going to kind of piggyback off what I explained during the work session, so the press that's here can hear what we're striving to do, and that is to put together some form of resolution in light of the influx of the illegal immigrants that are arriving in our county, and working with staff and our attorney to comprise this resolution and asking for help and assistance dealing with the issue from Alabama and at the state level, because I feel like they should be helping us out with this. You mentioned a lot of things and all those questions you were asking, and the major reason that Baldwin County is the way it is the quality of life that we offer here for our citizens. I see it's a very important thing to protect that. That's quality of life. I've kind of narrowed down to a few things that entails with us, and that's public safety, our education, and our healthcare systems that we have here, which, when this influx happens, causes a drain on all of these systems. And hopefully, when we get this resolution prepared and then unanimously vote to send it to the state, that we will start getting some attention and traction on this from more of a state level, and see what we can do in light of what Commissioner McKenzie says, that we can't do anything because the federal government won't do anything. I think sometimes states can take things into their own hands to clean it up. So be looking for that resolution to be brought forth at our next commission meeting. Our attorney is going to be working on that for us and getting the language up for that. So stay tuned for that in the near future.
Okay, I'll wrap it up. I want to, again, always, I don't want to ever fail to thank staff. This is a huge agenda that we had today with this many items, not even just on the public hearings, And I spent countless hours poring over these cases and reviewing sections of the Planning Commission meetings where the public hearings. As a matter of fact, some of these cases, I actually watched the Planning Commission on my phone while they were happening. But sometimes it's hard to remember every little thing that is said in a very long meeting. So it's a task that we take on, and we do a good job at that. And I want to thank the planning staff and Frank for your help with all the questions, because I have asked a lot this last week concerning, these are all the cases that are printed out for the public hearings that we had. There's not one thing that happens up here that is a rubber stamp. We'll leave it at that. And so, with that being said, motion to adjourn? All right, see y'all next time.